This is Matt.
This is Ed.
And welcome to Geek Syndrome.
NANI?!
That was you! In the blue and the yellow?
Yeah, that was me. I'm, invincible. God, that sounds dumb when I say it like that.
Sounds a little optimistic.
All right, man. What in God's name are we talking about today?
All right, today we're going to be talking about the Amazon Prime original animated series, Invincible.
Invincible.
Not the comic book Invincible by Robert Kirkman, but the animated series based on it.
You know, based is actually is a good way to describe it.
Because it's very similar, but it does kind
A lot of stuff are different.
of deviate a good bit.
Yeah, a lot of things are different.
So, for people that don't know, the Invincible comic is created by Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker, and Ryan Oatley. I want to say that's how you say his name.
Oatley.
It's a Image comic, which he's actually kind of been featured in. He's actually in that universe, so it's not like its own. It's not like The Walking Dead, so it's kind of like own separate little pocket universe thing. It's actually part of a bigger universe. But so the Amazon Prime series is basically an animated adaptation of this comic, which is actually probably the best way to approach this.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm not going to say anything, but, you know, looking at another recent adaptation of a comic book
like right after this one
on Netflix called Jupiter's Legacy. I think that probably should have been animated as well, because every time I look at those costumes on the little preview thing for the Amazon, not Amazon, but the Netflix thing, I cringe a little.
I didn't think. Okay, the thing about the Jupiter Legacy's costume is they're not all created equal.
No, but also too is like they're wearing these like very stoic superhero costumes that you see on like clean shaven superheroes, but these people were like rough looking. Like they got like either 5 o'clock shadows, full beards, and it's not like majestic beards. It's like they just look rough.
Yeah, like the Utopian. Like his whole look is like he just got off the farm.
Like like he literally just came out of a wilderness, like, and just said, "Oh, gotta go do something." Like
superhero stuff.
Like if he's gonna have long hair, like, and wear that costume, I would see him being the type of person to kind of pull it back, like professional, and tie it. You know?
Yeah. Kind
of like pull his hair back real like tight. Plus, also, it doesn't really the wig that he's wearing doesn't look good at all.
Doesn't look very natural.
So that, and then you got his like son, who looks weird with the little rough beard thing he's got going on and the long hair. It just looks weird. Like I'm not used. I don't know if it's. It don't look right.
Just don't fit.
But I think it would have looked better in an animated version. Plus, besides, that's the point. We'll get to that one day, maybe.
But you know, one thing about it too that you brought the animation is that, you know, if they do this in a live action, they can't do it. And what I mean when I say they can't do it is the high levels of brutality that's in this show. People are not going to stomach that, seeing it happening to actual human beings.
Especially after, I mean, like with The Boys. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but from what I've seen, it doesn't get nowhere near as like grotesque as this.
Oh, no, I'm not too far in The Boys, but The Boys gets pretty bad. It gets bad in its own way.
Well, see, like, okay, let's bring The Boys into this scenario too, since I've kind of seen a little bit and how their costumes work. But it's just, I don't know, it's just something about the Jupiter Legacy costumes just don't look right.
Too shiny.
The past stuff looks great.
Yeah.
But like the present day stuff looks weird. But this is about Invincible. It's not about Jupiter's Legacy. So, anyway, to get more back into Invincible, it is an animated series. It's in a very adult animated series because of the brutal beatings, the blood, the language. as Steve Rogers would say. Watch the language.
Language, guys. Swear jars.
So the series is follows the events of Mark Grayson, who is just your average teenager, except for the fact that his father is the superhero Omni-Man. Omni-Man is basically the Superman equivalent of this universe. He came from a distant planet, and he's super powerful. Like, literally, he's got all the abilities that Superman has. The series, Steve Yeun, is that how you say his name?
Steven Yeun.
He plays Mark Grayson. He's also, Glenn from The Walking Dead. J.K. Simmons of, Spider-Man fame.
Bring me pictures of Spider-Man.
Pretty much almost has his foot in a ton of comic books.
Man, I've said that like 4 times. Because I did that in the Snyder Cut joint. He was in there. There was something else he was in that we did, wasn't it? Maybe it was just a Snyder Cut.
There's a Snyder Cut because I think we talked about his other stuff in that.
Oh, yeah, we did kind of.
Because he was in the Snyder Cut. He was in Spider-Man. There's something else he was in that was pretty big.
He's making his rounds, man.
He really is.
He's making his rounds right now.
He has to have like some kind of love for it, like because he has been in a ton of things.
Maybe they just pay him a lot of money.
That too. He's got a really good voice too.
Yeah,
very
it
iconic.
just fits. Yeah.
Wasn't he? No, that's Bryan Cranston. Bryan Cranston was in Avatar, The Legend of Korra. He played Aang's son. Anyway, that's not important. So J.K. Simmons plays Nolan Grayson, Omni-Man. And then we got Sandra Oh, which is Debbie Grayson. Sandra Oh is from Grey's Anatomy fame.
Yeah.
So to get into the story itself, the first episode is called It's About Time. So we kind of basically open up with these 2 kind of giant villainous scientists named the Molar Twins, which they attack the White House, but they're basically repelled by the Guardians of the Globe and Omni-Man.
Which they're like the Guardians are like your standard like DC. Well, the easy way to really describe it is just DC ripoffs.
Basically, because like you got your Darkwing, which is like Batman.
Yeah, Darkwing.
Invincible, Immortal is, I would say,
he's probably the closest. Okay, so we said Omni-Man with Superman. Immortal is probably like the closest thing to Superman.
No, I would say he's more like what's that guy's name? He's actually a villain, not a hero though.
Shazam, maybe.
Maybe Shazam. I can see him being like a Shazam character. I would say Shazam, yeah.
Yeah, because his powers are quite, as if you go through the comic books and you get
Vandal
the series,
Savage.
Yeah. His powers are very mystical, I would say.
Then you got what was that girl? The old girl that was the green girl. That's basically Green Lantern.
Yep.
Red Rush is obviously Flash.
Yep.
The Martian guy is basically Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
They really don't go too far on the name. Even the Wonder Woman's like counterpart. What was her name? War Woman?
Gosh, I can't remember.
Warrior Woman? That doesn't sound right.
It was War Woman. You were right.
I was right. Oh, yeah. That's basically Wonder Woman. I mean, obviously. And then you got like the fish guy that's basically Aquaman. So they basically Justice League, and the Molar Twins are basically like these 2 guys who are actually, it's a clone. But the thing is like they don't know which one's the original clone because they can't remember.
Yeah.
We'll find out more about that later on in the series as it progresses, like why that is. But we got a good little introduction to the basic heroes of this era.
And they do like superhero stuff, man. Hey, we gotta save the president, and
stuff like that, and then you got like Darkwing using his gadgets to like keep up with everybody, which is basically what Batman would do and stuff like that. But then of course, they can't quite stop him, and then Omni-Man comes in and saves the day.
He wraps it up, man.
And leaves and all that. So this is then we kind of cut back to the slice of life stuff with Mark and his mom and all that stuff. But then his dad, which is Omni-Man. And Mark is still waiting on his powers to finally emerge, but he just still nothing. Just
Yeah,
waiting.
because the way it works is, of course, when Nolan got there, Omni-Man got to Earth, he had all of his powers.
Yeah.
He had his powers ready to go. It was a maturation process because he was already essentially at peak form. But the thing about it is, he's so smart. Like, hey, man, you may never actually get your powers. Like, that may never happen. He's frustrated by it because, at this point, most kids, well, not all kids, but a lot of kids, or especially sons, seek to emulate their fathers, especially if their father has some type of grand achievement. They want to be the same thing he is, especially when they look up to it. And so you kind of feel that frustration coming off of Mark.
Yeah, I mean, plus it's one of those things when you kind of like given this idea that you're supposed to gain something at a certain time, you feel like you deserve it. Like, it's what you're looking forward to. It's like the same thing when we were kids growing up, the getting our license. That was like our first step to freedom. Oh God, if we only knew.
Ain't no freedom out here, dog.
No. So anyway, while he's still waiting on his powers to come in, he still goes to school, obviously.
He goes his little job, whatever.
Yeah.
Krabby Patty.
Making Krabby Patties.
Krabby Patty.
But he crushed on this one girl, Amber Bennett. And she's kind of getting picked on by like a bully, but not really picked on. Like, the guy won't leave her alone. Like, he's constantly trying to get her attention, wants to date her, and whatnot. And Mark basically steps up to Todd, which is the bully's name, and tries to stop him. And Todd punches Mark to the ground and has to get Amber has to stop Todd and basically kicks him in the balls.
Right, the old gonads.
And makes him leave, but
dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair.
Basically. But like she kind of finds like a interest in Mark afterwards, even though Mark obviously got his ass beat.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, mark this down, put it on your calendar. This is the first time Mark got his ass whooped in this series.
It was pretty funny.
It won't be the last.
It's even funnier considering later that day, Mark develops his superpowers.
Literally, after getting his ass whooped, I got my powers now. It could have helped. It could have used these an hour ago.
Could have, but you know what? It's okay that I threw this trash bag all the way across the town.
Yeah, he's got like a bag of like old hamburgers. He just chucks them.
My thought when I saw that was like, that poor guy or girl or whoever just got hit by a bag of trash.
Whole bag of burgers. Whole bag of dirty burgers.
Or messed up like somebody's car or something like that. So anyway, he finally goes home and he actually tells his parents about it. Nolan's still kind of like uncertain. I guess he might. I don't know why he's uncertain. Like, your son comes to tell you that I have powers, and he's just kind of like,
"Oh, wait, are you sure? All right, Mark. Good job."
So he begins to train Mark, and he emphasizes, the severity of being a superhero. And while they're doing their training, he actually tries to he punches Mark when he's off guard, like as hard as he can. Well, not literally, because we find out later that it's a lot harder that he can punch. And feeling emotional and hurt physically, Mark actually kind of blows off some steam later and tries to stop a robbery with a homemade suit, very similar to Spider-Man's homemade suit in the Avengers. Mm-hmm. And so this fight itself was actually pretty cool because he's trying to stop these guys, and it's actually that what's that guy's name? The concrete guy.
I can't remember on the top of my head.
But anyway, I think he comes in later. He stops him, and his father's watching him, and then his father basically tells him, you could have reduced some of that damage. Basically,
you're doing it wrong, kid.
So they kind of have a heart-to-heart, and seeing that Mark is being serious and actually really wants to do this, he takes him to the superhero suit tailor, Art Rosenbaum, who creates a proper superhero suit for Mark. And this is after he comes up with the name Invincible. Mm-hmm. And one of the cool things about this is the fact that Art is voiced by none other than Mark Hamill. this cast that we're getting, which we talked about, is getting pretty wild because,
Yeah, it's Mark Hamill, man. It was the Joker. He's a Guyver. Friggin', of course, Star Wars, Luke Skywalker.
And the Trickster.
Man. This dude's been in a lot of stuff. Man. So the cast is rounding out really well. They got a lot of big names. He's just one of many. And it's crazy to say that. Normally, just saying, hey, Mark Hamill's going to be in this animated show is enough to get people moving in the right direction. But he's not even the biggest name here. Well, no, okay, I can't say that. There's about 5 people in this, right, that are all about the same level.
Well, you got to think, too, Steven got nominated for the Academy Award this year.
Yeah, Academy Award. There's a lot of people on the same level here as far as voice acting goes.
And Eve, which we'll find out Eve later, is played by Jillian, the girl from Community.
That is right. Yeah.
So later on, kind of after all this, the Guardians all get like a signal.
Yeah.
We kind of get to see a little bit of their kind of like, personal lives, a little bit of what they do on their downtime. Like, okay, Red Rush is basically with his like love interest.
Yeah, his wife, yeah.
And he tells her, when he said this, I was like, oh, you messed up.
Yeah.
When he said what he said. When he goes, you don't understand the way my mind works is every second is like
agonizing, yeah.
It's like I can't have a normal conversation. Like my mind's going rapid as race. And she got hurt, but then he immediately fixed it and says, you're the only person that I want to spend all that time with.
Right.
So he fixed that. But then he gets a call and he has to leave. You see whatever the green girl is, I can't remember her name. She's like a photographer. She's taking pictures. She gets the call and she leaves.
Yeah, I gotta go.
The Martian guy, he is trying to like see how far he can stretch his capacity and stuff like that. He gets the call. He leaves. But he's like, kind of like friends with like a little girl. Or a boy. I can't remember if it was a girl or a boy. The war woman is like a business lady.
Yeah, she's
So she just kind of like goes. I don't even know what the Immortal was doing. And then the fish guy was basically sitting in the throne waiting.
He's like, yes!
Finally, something to do!
Get me off the throne, bro. I'm bored out here.
So he finally leaves and joins. And Darkwing actually is stopping some thugs.
Doing the Darkwing thing.
Basically being Batman. And he plays the thing where he leaves them and he says, you know what? I'll just come back and get you later. So thinking about what happens next and everything. It's so bad.
Anywhere.
So they all go to their little base, and they notice something's up because none of them sent out the signal. They all arrive. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and right at that second, Red Rush pushes the Immortal out of the way of a fist that was coming at him, and it's none other than Nolan, who literally kills everybody in the Guardians and falls unconscious from the damage he sustained from that fight.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man.
It's very brutal, actually. And let's talk about that. So that brutality, how intense it was, how much gore it was. Was it too much? What do you think?
You know me, I tend to hate stuff like that. Not so bad when I was younger. I think I've expressed this several times, so it shouldn't sound too new actually. But I get sick of it, man. Omni-Man, he fights Red Rush. Red Rush punches him so many times that his hands start to break.
I forgot about that.
Oh God, like that's just watching somebody get tortured. At that point, I would rather him skip to the part of him just busting his head open. Watch his hands break punching him, or his hands turn to like goo punching Omni-Man. So that part, done with that.
The thing that got me was Darkwing.
Yeah,
he grabs him and he like whenever he slung him so bad he literally like broke his body. Like
broke him
he
into
broke his
pieces.
skeleton. Like he was like a mush.
Yeah, he turned War Woman's whole face around. Like the complete opposite direction. Turned her whole face around. Like
He punched the girl's face in too, the old green girl.
yeah, he punched her face in. Like, come on, man. Like, just
it was
goddamn.
intense. Like it was intense.
There, I know a lot of people liked it, and that was the hook. That was a hook that got a lot of people into the show. So, in the grand scheme of things, doing it that way, they made the right call. Now, one thing I will say too, even if you read the comic books, that's still not a pretty scene. That's not a pretty scene at all in the comic books. I think actually animated, I think it's worse. But I see why they did it, and like I said that's what got everybody talking about the show. That's what got people locked in like super quickly and super easily.
I mean, I will admit, like that was something, especially seeing the whole episode. We talk about Omni-Man. We talk about how he is like this superhero. This like he's supposed to be the superhero. And then you see him basically massacre what is the equivalent of the Justice League. And you're instantly like, whoa. And that's how it ends.
Yeah.
And you're instantly like...
You hooked after that, man.
What happened? Like, is he being controlled? Were there's something going on with them? Like, were they actually corrupt?
They bad guys.
What's going on here? So you want to see what happens. And this pulls you in, and you don't find out these answers until the last episode of this season.
The very, very, very last.
The very last episode, like, and it's played on me like there's something kind of sus about Omni-Man the whole time, because he does kind of seem shady, but you just can't really like. It's kind of hard to see it because you're seeing like the Boy Scout character of Superman. It's just something that's kind of throwing you off.
I'm here to save the day.
And, and he's talking about, he's talking to his son and he's trying to teach his son to be the proper superhero and all this. And now he's just massacred a whole team of superheroes. Like, what's going on? So I think it was a good way to get people into the series because it was like a good little draw, like a good cliffhanger.
It was a great draw. I mean, that's a great way to hook him in, man.
So my thing is like, I know Robert Kirkman's style. He's very big on shock factor.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Because he did it in The Walking Dead. He literally he's went in interviews and talked about killing characters just because it was a good shock, but then regretting that he did it later on.
This is why I called him a hack.
But he's good though. He's got great content. Like he's got a good like story. Like he's got a good world building. He's got a good idea, but he literally is like, his comics are like the clickbait of YouTube.
The clickbait.
It's the clickbait.
That's a clickbait moment. That's a clickbait moment right there.
Yeah.
Now one thing I will give him credit for, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I will give him credit for, he does use this moment to tell a bigger story. And I will give him a lot of credit for that. I don't want to be all hate, because a lot of movies, TV shows, comic books, whatever, what have you, will have a moment like this of this extreme brutality, and there's no reason for it. So I will give him credit for that, because as it goes forward into even in this series, especially the comic books, if you decide to read those, there is a reason why these people had to die. But like I said, I think it was a little too much. As far as, like I say, just...
gore.
Come on, man.
You could have dialed the gore back a little bit.
Yeah, how many times I got to see somebody's head get popped off or screwed off, or why somebody's, lower jaw get busted with a hammer.
These fatalities...
They're fatalities.
Made the fatalities in the Mortal Kombat movie look like fluff.
Look pedestrian.
Yeah, like...
Absolutely pedestrian.
Because, if you think about it, going back to Mortal Kombat, the movie itself... The most grotesque fatality we got was with Goro and getting his innards coming out.
Yeah.
But that was a CGI monster. We didn't actually see that with any of the actual human characters. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty bad.
It is top 5 disgusting.
Honestly, if they were still doing guest characters in Mortal Kombat 11, they should make Omni-Man one.
Yeah, because good God. good gravy, which was what he turned him into.
Maybe in Mortal Kombat 12.
Mortal Kombat 12.
He could be a guest character.
Might as well.
Ed Boon, if you're listening to this, Omni-Man from Mortal Kombat 12. Make it happen.
That's a $1 billion idea right there.
All right, so we're going to go into episode 2 now.
You know, I find it funny that the burger bag marked through at the end of episode 1 lands on a group of people, then segues into the mangled and disgusting corpses of the Guardians.
I do not remember the garbage bag. I really don't.
Yeah, because it falls down and it's like, the burgers.
Yeah.
From
I think I kind of vaguely remember it now.
And, because the dude's talking to his son or whatever like that. He said, oh, you call
oh,
me
yeah.
Dad.
Okay.
You call me Dad.
Okay, yeah. I remember that now. I remember the burgers hitting them. And then but I didn't think it was from the trash bag. I thought it was just like Mark flying or something like that and he dropped the burger. I didn't think it was from the trash bag.
Yeah, because, it kind of hit like it with force. It he thought it was like blood because so much of it got on everybody.
Yeah, like somebody's like drop. I got you. Okay, that makes sense.
Then they're scraping them up off the wall and they're puking and it's just terrible. Like literally the aftermath of that scene. You have people coming in and have to clean that up.
And these are people that's having to clean up like the superheroes that's supposed to prevent things like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad, man. So, the Global Defense Agency, like you were talking about, they basically, after going in cleaning up, they take Nolan to like a secret hospital. And they try to revive some of the Guardians, but they fail. Obviously, because most of them are mush.
They had nothing else. They had nothing to revive.
Exactly. So director Cecil Stedman informs Mark and his mother, Debbie, about Nolan. So we finally get to meet Cecil, who is voiced by Walton. How you say his name?
Goggins.
Like I said, once again, I don't know how to pronounce people's names.
It's okay. That's
why we have Matt.
My only value.
So he's played and voiced at a lot of like stuff to like Justified and The Shield.
Right.
Do you think he fits the role?
All right. So as far as what's the best way I say? You know how sometimes you can watch a movie, TV show, or listen to somebody, you can hear that somebody's voice like, oh, that's the character. Oh, yeah. That's him. Oh, that's you. I can't see anybody else playing this but you. I can't see anybody else playing Cecil but this man in terms of voice acting.
The only thing I have against him voicing Cecil is just I don't feel like the voice really matches his appearance.
You don't think? Are you talking his real life appearance or his
Because Cecil in this is like an old looking guy. Like he's got like the white hair.
Yeah.
Kind of like, balding in patches and stuff like that, and scarred up face from doing this for so many years. His voice sounded very youthful, though. That's the only thing. It sounded kind of youthful.
It sounded gruffy to me. Kind of gruffy.
He sounded youthful. I don't know. I mean, like, at first it kind of like jarred me, but as, obviously watching it kind of fit in.
Oh, like when I heard it, and I get it, because when you look at him, he does seem like he's, 109 years old. Like this dude's on the way out. How old he looks. But, when I heard his voice, I'm like, man, this guy's pretty good.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, now, no doubt, I can't hear anybody else doing that voice. But just at first glance, it was just one of those that were like, the voice just didn't match with the way the character design looked.
I got you.
At first, it's something that happens with me a lot though. It's sometimes it's jarring, but as time goes on, it makes more sense. I do this a lot with video games. There's a recent one I played. Mortal Kombat. I was playing that, going back to hit. Ronda Rousey does not fit the older version of Sonya Blade. Yeah. But whenever they brought her back as like the younger version from Mortal Kombat 2 or 3, because I think she's supposed to be, like that time period. Yeah. When they brought her back from that, she fit the voice a lot better there. Like but that kind of like older militaristic woman that's kind of like, you know, over all these people, the general and all that. She didn't really fit that. That mature voice of who's supposed to be the daughter of Cassie Cage, not daughter, the mother of Cassie Cage and all that. But her younger self, she fit that way better.
I tell you what, boy, nobody rode the wave like Rhonda did. She parlayed her success into a lot of different things.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, she could have ended her career after that, losing that one big fight, but she knew she had a pull with the WWE because people liked her on it.
She pursued the bag.
So I give her credit now.
She got it, yo. She parlayed that into to a very successful career.
Yeah, like
if she wanted to, she would have still been wrestling. She would have still been in the mix.
Yeah, but hey, man, she making the money. She making moves. She knows what she's doing.
Exactly.
So, after that, we finally get an invasion by extra-dimensional aliens called the Flaxons. And they're like little Piccolo-looking guys. Like they look like Namekians, kind of.
Yeah,
and
ears.
So Mark tries to help them. Like he goes to help them because, you know, his dad's still in the coma. So, you know, he sees this at the hospital. So he goes there to try to like help out, save the day. And once he goes in there, he tries to prevent, like, you know, he tries to save them, all this. And he freezes up, like he panics. Like, he doesn't know what to do. He can't like figure out what he needs to do. And then he sees an old woman about to get hurt, and he tries to save her. And then in the process of trying to save her, she still gets injured, like almost fatally.
Yeah, no matter what. Yeah.
And he's freaking out, and he's like, she's bleeding out and stuff like this. Once again, you know, terrible. Like even this is kind of grotesque, with her arm and all that all messed up. So he gets help from this group of team. It's called like Teen Tim, not Teen Tim. Oh my God, Teen Team.
Double T.
Basically, the Teen Titans. And
basically, yeah, basically.
It is. I mean, the name and all that. You got Rexplode, which I think Rexplode is probably like my favorite character because he's just so funny. He's a douche, but he's funny.
Rexplode.
A Robot, which is played by Zachary Quinton, which was Spock in the new timeline.
Did not watch.
The newer Star Trek movies.
Did not watch.
But anyway, he was Skyler.
No, I didn't watch any of them.
He was in Heroes. He was the bad guy in Heroes.
Oh yeah.
In the first season, then he became the good guy in the last season.
Save the cheerleader, save the world.
Yeah, remember back when shows like, that show was actually good. Pepper's Farms remembers.
Pepper's Farms remembers. But you know, this is the first time we really see Mark in action. You can really tell he's new to this. He doesn't really have a grasp of the situation because he's flying around like really frantically. Like he's like, oh my gosh. He just, I gotta do this. Oh my gosh.
He doesn't
like,
know
like the headlight.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he needs to do first. So he's kind of trying to figure it out, and he gets help from Team.
Team.
Oh my God, that's such a terrible name.
Team, baby.
They're holding off the forces and everything like that, and they're almost on their whole like, you know what, this is the end, guys. This is our final stand.
They get really close to getting destroyed,
and then something happens. The Flaxons start to rapidly age, and they notice it and they retreat. The leader of Team Robot. Why are we going to have such a generic name for the leader? Robot. But the name of the team is going to be such a tongue twister that not even Rob Burgundy could do it.
I'll have another scotch.
Oh, I don't believe you. That escalated quickly. So Robot deduces that the reason why that they age quickly was because there's like a time difference between our world or the home world and Earth.
Time paradox.
Mark recognizes Adam Eve. She's like, we didn't really talk about her. She's kind of like got these force field abilities. She kind of reminds me of Raven a little bit, like with her abilities.
Oh, okay.
Not her look, obviously, because she looks nothing like Raven.
She got the manifest stuff.
Yeah, she creates things.
On the Adam Eve, she meant create things from the atomic level or some sort, or down to the basic atom.
Like she can create like her outfit like instantly. But way she uses her powers reminds me of a lot of way Raven uses her powers. So the next day, Mark's at school and he actually recognizes Adam Eve.
Okay. You know, the crazy thing is, I thought it was funny too. Eve basically says, hey, you know, a lot of people don't recognize that I'm Adam Eve because you don't expect to see me here, or they don't expect to see a superhero here.
She basically explained the Clark Kent thing perfectly, like why people do not suspect Clark Kent is Superman. Because why would they?
Exactly.
Like, okay, let's derail for a minute. Clark Kent and Superman. The reason why it works, the reason why nobody suspects the bumbling reporter Clark Kent is Superman is in Metropolis, Superman is known as Superman. He doesn't go around saying he has an identity. He doesn't wear a mask. He shows his face. He's got nothing to hide. So to them, Superman's Superman. He's nobody else. Now,
nobody else.
You go and look at Batman. He's wearing a mask, so obviously he's hiding something. People want to know who Batman is. So Superman and Wonder Woman, nobody questions who their alternate identities are. For all they know, that's who they are.
That's who they are all the time.
Because they don't wear masks. So, but also too, see, if you look at Eve, when she's running around as Adam Eve, she's not wearing a mask. And it's like she said, though, nobody suspects your classmate to be a superhero. And they make another joke about that later on. I think it was in the comics, actually, when I was reading it, whenever they first met in the comics. They're going to fly off, and he says, we're just going to fly off now? She says, yeah. She says, nobody ever really looks up.
Yeah. So I like the way they broke that down. You know, one thing you see too is that their relationship takes off like quickly.
Yeah, and you know, this is kind of shortly after we get introduced to everyone's favorite character, Amber.
Yeah, everybody loves Amber.
Everybody loves Amber. She's the best thing that's in this show.
Amber doesn't start off bad though.
No, and I mean like when we get into the later parts with Amber, the things about Amber that don't make sense to me is like the fact that like
she's privy to a lot of knowledge. She has a lot.
She knows things.
Yeah,
she knows stuff that's going on, but the way she chooses to approach it is terrible.
Pretty bad.
Which we'll get into that later because I'm going to have some ranting for that when that happens.
Pretty bad. But a lot of people, man, if you go into like the message boards or
people hate Amber.
Or Twitter or Reddit.
Just
boy,
Facebook,
they hate,
man.
They
Facebook.
Yeah. Nothing but memes about her. They hate them some Amber. They truly do.
And it's like kind of bad because like I know what they did. They're trying to make her not the damsel in distress character. They're trying to make her like independent, stuff like this.
I'm strong. I don't need no help.
But the thing is like you just kind of made her come off as being like somebody you don't like.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the thing with Amber, you got to look at it at a certain perspective. And if you look at what happens later on from Amber's perspective, you kind of get it. It's like, well, you're not making time for me, or you're not doing this, and you don't care about me, blah, blah. But then again, too, if you look at from the other side is, you know, sometimes there's things more important than, you know, going out to a dinner date or doing this and doing that. Sometimes there's just things out here that's bigger than us, and you can kind of see those conflicting sides in Mark and in her later on. So I think I get why they did it.
You get
but they did it the wrong way because
they made her an unlikable person.
They made her unlikable. Yeah, they made her unlikable. Where in all actuality, she does deserve a little bit of sympathy.
A little bit. But the thing that gets me is like when we get into the point when she finds out about who Mark is, what Mark's been doing the whole time, it's the fact that she's still standing by this point, even though she knows that he's out there risking his life.
She knows, and that's such a stark contrast from the comic book too. Such a it's one thing we're probably gonna touch on super soon. Actually, is the differences here between the comic book and the show itself,
which makes me really excited about actually reading the comic and not being completely spoiled on how the show is going to keep going.
At this point, man, it's hard to say which one is better because we only have one season. We only have one season right now, but things are so out of place, and it's I'm kind of leaning towards the thought process that this is the multiverse, because there is a multiverse in Invincible. So I'm starting to think this isn't the original timeline that we're in right now.
Well, they're talking about doing a live adaptation of this too.
Eesh. I don't know how that's gonna work.
I don't know if it's supposed to be like an actual adaptation or if it's going to be like a one-off thing. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Seth Rogen's got his hands in it too, because he's got his hands in this. So I'm not sure what they're going to do yet with that. But to get back with the actual story, though, like the Flaxons do return with anti-aging technology. But so when Mark and team come back to face them, they realize like that their previous method's not working, like something's going on. And I actually, because we were kind of like rewatching it again just briefly to kind of like get back kind of fresh with it, and Robot basically like is going to call Cecil to drop a bomb,
a nuke. This is what we like to refer to as a tactical loss. Ain't no hope here, baby. Drop the nuke.
Time to drop the nuke.
Time to drop the nuke. And they're like, "Whoa, Robot!" Like, chill, B.
Like, bro, this ain't how we do it.
Chill, B. Like, they ain't calm down, man.
We haven't even tried anything yet.
Yeah. Oh, good God.
So they do figure out that where the anti-aging technology is actually like a kind of like a bracelet.
Yeah, like the wristbands.
So they just figure out if they destroy it, they can actually, they start aging again. So they destroy all of the bracelets. I think Robot eventually hacks into it to where he can actually cut them all off. And this causes the forces to retreat again.
So the thing about it is, as far as Mark's maturation process, this is a much better fight. He does a much better job. And actually, at one point he catches the Martian Emperor, or soon-to-be Martian Emperor, and kind of beats him up like really good. Well, you can't say Martian. Flaxian? What's the name of these people?
Flaxian.
Flaxin, the Flaxin Emperor, and he beats him up like really good, man. So it's I like his maturity there, and I like the flow of the action. But this is what I was talking about earlier. This is very disjointed from the comic books, because I read the comic books. I read all of it.
Yeah, I'm not too far into it. I'm like, I think I'm right at the part. Well, like I said, I'm near the part whenever Mark and Eve like exchange their identities, because I guess I mentioned that whole segment there. But was the fight? They haven't fought these aliens yet, have they? No.
What happens with the aliens? They fight like much later.
So they fight after Mark and Eve meet.
Yeah, they fight after.
Okay.
They fight much later.
I just kind of like glossed over that.
Yeah, because I forget exactly which book number it was, but they fight them much later. So it's very disjointed. I mean, well, it's disjointed from the comic book. I believe in the show itself, it flows very well, and I think it works out actually kind of when I kind of think about it. Because basically what they did is that there's a lot of slice of life stuff, then something crazy happens, then they fight. But they're kind of doing the crazy stuff, slice of life, then fights. They just kind of mix up the order. And
it's not bad, though.
No, it's not bad.
That kind of works like Well, the thing is that it works in this because the slice of life is interesting. Like, it's kind of the equivalent of like the slice of life stuff in anime when it goes in between like the big arcs.
Yeah.
Because you'll have like your big like action arc that all this stuff happens and all this crazy things happen, and then you take a brief moment to let the characters breathe, and you kind of get a little slice of life, find out more information about their past, how their family life is, stuff like that. And this is basically how this is, but it's kind of like breaking it up a little more because if you look at the Flaxen invasion, if it was going to be in like an anime, then after the invasion, you would have like the little break with the characters kind of like recuperating and stuff like that.
Yeah, getting the mind right, reflecting on the stuff that happened.
Mm-hmm. Like, you wouldn't have multiple invasions. You would have like just the one big one.
And that's what it was too. It wasn't multiple invasions. It was one major. Unless my memory is totally wrong, and if my memory is wrong, let me know. I'm all for that. Please correct me.
I'll have to check it.
But if my memory, there's like one big invasion. It happens, and in that big invasion, they barely like pull off like a W, and that forces a lot of things to go in a different way.
Yeah, like I'll definitely like. Oh, I'll probably add that point now in the comic. Like, I'm gonna be coming up to it, so. I don't know. We'll see. Like, I'm gonna try to see if I can try to get a lot of this finished up. The comic, some more issues read before.
It's good reads, man. The comic books are solid. Like I said, they're good reads. I've read them all. Like when they first dropped. I was so broke back then, man. Good God. I think this one came out in the early 2000s. Yeah. So I was pretty piss poor broke, but I found a way to read every single one of them by hooking it and by crooking it. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, like, AB's necessary. I didn't read them.
Some people are still broke. And they find ways to read things.
Yep, that's very true.
But here at Geek Syndrome, we don't condemn this. We don't condone this.
Yeah. We don't care either. You do what you want to do.
You do you, baby.
Whatever's on your heart, man.
But like you mentioned before, though, like our the cast of characters is actually a real star-studded cast. Like, I don't know how to say these people's names.
Was it? They got me on this one. Digimon. That's not it.
They got the entire cast of Digimon playing the Emperor, the Flaxen Emperor. The entire cast of Digimon.
Let's just say they have a star-studded cast of people that we cannot pronounce their names. Jason Mantzoukas. Wow. God dang it, bro. Ooh, okay. Lord, forgive me for being born in the South. Lord, forgive me for being an uncultured swan. I will take this one.
Forgive us, Lord, forgive us for being born in a time whenever they created the No Child Left Behind program.
They left us.
And they were like, you know what? You don't need to worry about how to spell things.
Y'all not getting left behind.
But we can't. But y'all can't fail. So 70.
Here's a C.
Oh, well, you tried C+.
See you later, Billy.
Oh God. So Nolan finally does get out of the hospital, and but we do get some bad news.
Oh yeah, that lady that Mark tried to save. Yeah,
she didn't make it.
She didn't make it,
and it's actually pretty bad. Because it's kind of sad because he actually was really heartbroken about this woman. Because like after the first invasion, he takes her to the hospital as well, and when he does, he's still going in there checking on his dad and stuff like that. He keeps going to check on her as well. So after this, Mark actually has to scrimmage with Alan the Alien.
Alan the Alien. Which Alan the Alien
is played by Seth Rogen.
Holy crap. Oh, well, sounds about right, actually. Sounds about right. You know, the crazy thing about Alan the Alien, he actually has one of the most interesting stories out of everybody, especially when you get deeper in the comic books. So his role next season, whenever there will be a next season, is going to be.
Well, we already been announced the season 2 and 3.
Damn, they did. Well, I knew that. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but I knew that.
Yeah, they got a hit, and it's probably cheap. to do this. They probably spend the most money on getting the people to come in and voice it.
Well, that's the one thing I'm thinking about as well too. Is that how can they keep all these people, because they don't have like slouches. Everybody that's in here kind of does their own thing in their own way. And so what I'm trying to figure out is how can you keep this cast up? How can you keep all these people there? I don't quite get that. Maybe they've already filmed them. Maybe they've already filmed like some of the voices and stuff, or maybe they like signed in like the contracts.
Maybe.
But I don't know how you keep everybody. Somebody's not making it for the next 2-3 seasons. Hate to say it like that, but somebody will make it.
If they go by with the comic and everything, J.K. Simmons ain't gonna be around for a little while.
Well, now if they go by the comic books, I hate to say it like this too, you are right in a way, and also, okay, unless they do. Well, no, they can't do that because there's a break point.
Do we need to say spoilers?
No, okay, I won't spoil anything. Let's just say this: there's in the comic books, right? After whatever happens with Omni-Man, there's a break point, right? And there's a break point where Mark does different things, but they've taken some of those points and moved them ahead into season 1. So I don't know how that works. Well,
I'm kind of curious now too, since they already announced the season 2 and the 3. Are they going to try to do the entire story wrapped up in the season 2, like with the next 2 seasons?
You can't do everything. You can't. There's two main plot points. There's 2 main points.
Well, I know there's like a ton of time skips. Like there's some time skips that take place.
3 really, because like you said, there is a war. It's a big war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
because I saw that with some of the covers.
A big war. It's a big ass war. I mean, like big ass war. There's the time skip, and then there's another big ass war. And so I don't know how they cram, and all 3 of those things are so well fleshed out and so well expanded upon. I don't know how you fit them all in 2 more seasons if you're only doing 2 seasons. Maybe they cut some stuff. Remix it. And they may even do it like a time skip. They may do a time skip. But I don't see how that works. I don't see that 2. Okay, so we can point that out. 2 things that worry me about the series in the future. I don't know how you keep everybody, and I don't know how you cram everything into 2 seasons.
Well, I mean, that was, like I said, that was speculation on my part. I don't necessarily think that they're going to just do 2 seasons. I just think maybe they just...
It could do 5, but I don't know, man.
Well, we don't know how Amazon does their shows yet. Like, Netflix, we know, usually does no more than 4.
Then they done. Yeah, it's a wrap.
4 or 5. I don't think... well, House of Cards was, like, the only one that ever pushed it to, like, 8.
But House of Cards wasn't just Netflix, right?
No, I think it was exclusively Netflix.
Really?
Yeah, I think. We talked about House of Cards a lot on this, and we don't even watch it.
Did we? Man, I've never watched.
We talked about it before.
Ever. I've never watched House of Cards. I hear about it often. A lot of my older friends would talk about it. Hey, did you watch House of Cards? Nah, bro.
I'll watch superhero stuff.
Oh gosh.
So basically, Mark actually has to like face off against Alan the Alien, which is the only reason why he has to do that is because, Nolan's just got out of the hospital and he still kind of needs a little time to recover.
I was like, yo, let Mark handle it.
Yeah, he's like, he could do it.
I was like, yo, I could do it, Dad.
I could do it, Father.
Just rushing to prove to his dad that, hey, I'm good at this, just like you.
So Alan the Alien actually is there to test Earth's defenses for the coalition of planets. And they call a timeout to talk and to learn of Alan's mission. And Mark corrects him for mistaking Earth as another planet, Earth, with a U. So Alan leaves and bidding a friendly farewell.
I kind of like, and I think this is where the series really shines. just these brief moments of just these brief moments totally removed from the extreme brutality. I mean, Mark and Alan are fighting, right? But it's nothing like crazy. It's more like they're just like goofing off.
Mm-hmm.
They're goofing off, they're having fun. And, Seth Rogen, he does a good job of always portraying that like side of things and that goofy side. And it really plays off well with Alan too. So I like that. I like that, man. I like to see those, those moments removed from the seriousness. One part I thought was funny too when Nolan got in the hospital. He's like, where's my super suit? Where's my super suit? That is personal property.
I don't care where it's at. I need it.
You better go get it. And that lady know what I know. She's like, yes, sir, Mr. Omni-Man.
Here's your bloody and tattered suit.
Yes, sir, Mr. Omni-Man. Here's your suit. I got it just for you. That's government property. I want it. No, he said personal property. It's my personal property. I want to have it.
And, Debbie a little suspicious.
They're like, you want that suit back?
Well, what's going on here?
Not to mention that Damian Blood has already been snooping around a little bit.
Yeah, he's been kind of going on around about this time.
And what Damian Blood is he's a demon from the hell, brought from hell to solve crimes.
Played by none other than Clancy Brown.
Who is Clancy?
Lex
Brown?
Luthor from the animated series.
Son of a bitch. God dang it. Okay. That goes to show you how much money Amazon has.
They got old Clancy Brown, Lex Luthor himself, playing
all these people.
Damian. What's his name again?
Damian Blood.
Damian Blood. I was thinking that, but then I wasn't thinking that at the same time.
Damian Blood, yeah.
So yeah, he's just snooping around a little bit, causing some issues. And one thing I really do like about Damian Blood, we're gonna kind of pull back and talk about him for a second, is how they could tell whenever he's actually in the room is because the room gets cold.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of moments where Cecil is like, I need everybody to leave the room. And it's because his breath's cold. And actually, Damien doesn't show up until episode 3. We jumped ahead.
Did we?
Yeah.
He is in this episode.
No, not this one.
Because he's helping them.
He shows up at the end of the episode.
No. Doesn't he help them like peel them off the wall or some crap?
Yeah, at the end of this episode.
At the beginning of this episode.
End of it.
Who cares? Damian Blood.
Damian Blood's great.
Damian Blood. All right.
Maybe he, I don't know, man.
I feel very confident in that statement.
Just like how they're reshuffling this show on Amazon Prime, I too am reshuffling the events in this show in my mind.
Just gonna move it around, bring it around town.
So speaking of bringing it around town, the Flaxons return to town once again. And they nearly succeed until a recuperated Nolan forces them back to their homeworld. And he devastates their planet in retaliation before returning as news breaks of the Guardian's death. So this is basically kind of like finishing off this episode. So not only do we get to see like one of the coolest, probably one of my favorite scenes in this series, besides maybe some other moments, but this is actually, I actually really enjoyed this whole him decimating this planet. But they do it better than how he did it with the Guardians of the Globe. Like it was brutal, but it wasn't like grotesque.
Okay, so now this man Nolan is absolute
savage
force of damn nature at this point. I mean, force of nature.
Speaking of, there it is.
And we saw what he was capable of when he took down the Guardians, but now we see his destructive capabilities when he, it just takes on a whole new form. He grabs the Emperor, because at this point he's the Emperor, and he runs him through the portal, and he smashes him through stuff, like bricks, like building, like rocks. And as he smashes him through stuff, he starts to shred away at his literal body.
But it's still not nearly as grotesque as it was with it.
No, okay. And here's the thing why it's not as grotesque. One, he doesn't. He still kills a lot. He kills a lot of people. Hell, he kills a whole planet.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see as much gore. You see like buildings blowing up, ships blowing up. You see collateral damage.
Like when he's pushing them through the through all the debris and all that, it's like a silhouette too.
Yeah,
because it's playing right now in the background. So here it goes. See.
Yeah, it's like
a silhouette, and you see that's like probably the most grotesque part right there.
Yeah, but other than that, it's just all
or
collateral
maybe
damage.
that. But that's not even that bad. But also, what helps too is the reason why it kind of cuts back on the grotesqueness of it is that there's a giant red filter over the whole thing because of the planet's sun. Oh, that is so brutal. I mean, this is what I liked about this scene is like right here, like just the color work of it, like it's really cool and flashy.
Yeah, I mean, he literally starts to shut down the planet's like entire grid work, man. Like that. I mean, dude, this dude could kill a planet. This dude literally bust the planet open.
He basically just did that until they opened the portal and let him go back home.
Y'all gonna let me out here one way or another. One way or another. But yeah, Nolan is crazy, man. Nolan is crazy. His power scaling, the way his power scaling work is they establish him to be dominant. And they establish him to be dominant from the very beginning. It's like there's nothing he can't handle. There's nothing that he can't beat. They don't make him physically weak or too weak in any scenario. So I really like that. I really like that about him. You know, he's the...
See, okay, you were right. See, I told you. At the end of the episode. I told you it was at the end of the episode.
I told you he was in there.
I said if he showed up, it was at the end, and he just showed up.
But I said he was in episode 2.
Damien Dark just showed up. Damien Blood just showed up.
In episode 2.
Dark Blood. Damien Dark Blood just showed up.
As I foretold in episode 2, which I knew. We're 2 episodes in. If we can go back and think about it as far as when we first watched it, what do you think about the series as a whole? I mean, not as a whole, but just as looking at these first 2 episodes.
Okay, going with it with the first 2 ones because like I can actually remember how I still kind of remember because it's still pretty well. It's not super fresh, but it's like
fresh enough. It's
fresh enough I can still remember my reactions. I remember whenever we came over here and we were setting up to record.
Falcon, I think.
Was it Falcon?
Mortal
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. We were doing that. We were getting the stuff prepped to do that. We were watching. We watched the first episode here, and at first I was kind of like, okay, that's not that bad. It's okay. It's pretty good. And then the cliffhanger ending, I was like, okay, I'm interested now. And then I went home and watched it again. Obviously, the first episode again, so I can kind of like get my full attention into it. And then I immediately watched episode 2. Immediately watched episode 3. So like I was like hooked. So I'd say the pacing is great. It's like a 40 minutes to 50 minute long episodes. Like the first episode is actually close to an hour.
Very close to an hour.
Then it gets around 40 minutes to 50 minutes after that. It does not feel like that. It doesn't feel like a 40-minute long episode. Like there's so much going on. There's not random fluff. It's not filler. It's not anything. Comparing this to Jupiter's Legacy, the first episode of that. Oh my God.
Yeah, you know the thing about Invincible
that dragged so bad.
If I break it down, like I said, if I break it down and I look at this, the first 2 episodes, at the beginning of any show, there has to be something that happens in the first, I would say, 3 episodes that keeps you interested.
That's the rule of 3. Rule of 3. We use it for anime, manga, and comics.
Something interesting, something very interesting has to happen enough to keep you hooked.
They always say, and give it 3 episodes. If it doesn't have your attention by the 3rd episode, scrap it because it's not going to get it.
Now with me,
unless it's like One Piece, where you got to do like
300 episodes.
300 episodes, and then you're hooked.
Still a rule of 3, just 300.
Rule of 3 times 100.
Times 100, yes. I was hooked. I wasn't, and I said this earlier. I wasn't really hooked by that the scene at the end of episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
I actually disliked that like the most. I got more caught up in Mark's story, and that was enough to keep me there. And then all the action and all the other stuff, man, it was just icing on the cake. The story is well crafted, and I really enjoyed it. I really sat down and I said to myself, man, this is something I can't stop watching. Like, I was really anticipating for that next episode to drop. Like, every Friday, I was like, man, I can't wait. Like, I got really into it.
Yeah, that's another thing, too. It's like, I forgot it. This was a weekly series.
It was weekly, so you can binge watch it. Well, you can binge watch it now, of course, because it's finished.
Because, like, I actually binge watched it after it got finished.
Okay.
So, I was able to get, like, all that. But, once again, I do really enjoy the weekly format. I wish a lot more shows would do that. I wish Netflix would do that. It would make my life so much easier instead of trying to have to binge watch the entire Castlevania series without getting spoiled.
Yeah, because, everybody and their mama was watching that joint. That was on my Facebook timeline. Oh, you watch Castlevania? Oh, I love Castlevania.
Or you get that one. You get some people that are literally posting spoilers without even like giving you any kind of caption.
Yeah, no context or anything.
Like they just throw the image out there, and I'm like, come on now.
Oh, I love Castlevania. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, some of us also love it too, but we just don't have time to watch it.
Some people just don't have time.
Some people have jobs.
The crazy thing is, you could be in this world. There's a lot of full-time responsibilities. Full-time husband, father, mother, daughter. Podcasters, jobs, full-time student, streamer, you name it. And there's so much time. There's so much of your time that is consumed by your hobbies or, unfortunately, your obligations. Lack thereof. And so you don't have time to watch everything immediately. Bro. Even me doing like the reviews, like all my, it sucks and I hate this. All my reviews are literally like a week or 2 weeks after the game drops because I have to, I have no time between school, work, and being a husband.
This works in your favor though because you're getting a chance to actually kind of like experience it and not just be having to rush through the game.
The only thing is the only upside to not watching something when it comes out immediately is because you can really appreciate something for what it is and you don't get caught up in the hype. Whether it's negative or positive, you don't get caught up in it when you wait a little bit.
Which is also a reason why we kind of changed up our formula a little bit on some of this stuff because now we kind of can give more of an honest review on things instead of just being caught up in the moment.
Yeah, the hype will get you, man. I mean, we can all say that we're immune to it, but I promise you, bro, things can and will influence your opinions.
Not gonna lie, after watching the Mortal Kombat, I literally was playing Mortal Kombat nonstop for like. I played a story mode of 10 and 11.
Yeah, dude, the hype will get you.
Waiting on Mass Effect to come out.
So you have to, I don't say you have to because that's not necessarily right either. I always tell people you need to do what you want to do that fits into your time.
Yeah,
you have to. So if you want to watch something the day it comes out, the second it drops, and you go, hey, you need to go after it, man.
Also, another thing that a lot of people got to get into the habit of learning is that just because you got spoiled doesn't mean that it ruins the show.
In some scenarios, it does. Some scenarios, like Game of Thrones, like
like whenever you find out that Luke Skywalker's father is Darth Vader, oh my God, like y'all's minds are gonna be blown whenever y'all find that out.
Jesus Christ, man. And also, there should be a statute of limitation on spoilers. If something's been out for 3 months,
it's all game after that.
It's all game, baby.
But now one cool thing is like when you go into some of the Facebook groups of like certain fandoms, they do put a spoiler limit on they give it about like a 2 weeks before that you can actually post spoilers.
But you say that there's a lot of pages that I just completely left because the minute a manga would drop, like Attack on Titan, they posted the final 2 pages.
No, don't say nothing. I've been doing very good about avoiding that.
The final 2 pages, man. They just post that joint like 20 minutes after it dropped. And then
I left quite a few of them because every time I turned around, they kept dropping pages for the new My Hero.
And people were like such dicks about it. They're like, "Oh, well, you should follow my page if you worry about spoilers." I'm like, "Yo, nah, you just being an asshole, man. You just being an asshole, bro." And I mean, of course, if you got a page that drops spoilers, if you got somebody that follows you and you know you drop spoilers, yo, you need to put that in your description. Like, yo, we drop spoilers. Okay, I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. You drop spoilers, so I'm gonna be out of there. You know, cool. Everybody's clear because some people don't mind spoilers. Some people don't care.
Yeah, but getting back to Invincible, first 2 episodes are really good so far.
Solid, man. Solid start.
Solid storytelling. Interesting characters.
Yep. A lot of shows wishing big they can have two early episodes like this.
The only thing now is that I feel like we're getting an oversaturation in the bad version of Superman storylines because we're getting a lot of that now.
Hold up, really?
I would say Invincible and The Boys.
Oh yeah, The Boys. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just waiting on the 3rd one.
Well, I think Omni-Man is and you'll see it here in the future. I think Omni-Man.
Well, I'm not saying. Well, this was back. Like this is a comic that was like, way back. So
there is no redemption for Homelander. There is absolutely no path that Homelander can take that gives him redemption.
Basically, Homelander, like from what I've seen so far, reminds me a lot of Injustice Superman.
Yes. Now Omni-Man, well, hell, there's no path at this point with that train scene. There's no path back. There's just too many. There's too many people he wantonly killed. But I think he can have a little bit more character development.
We'll see. Yeah. We'll get into that more when we get to the next episode.
Yeah, that's it for this episode.
Thanks for listening.
Subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and many other major platforms. And be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Geek Syndrome.
And be sure to tell your friends and family about us and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Links for that will be in the description.
This is Matt.
This is Ed.
Till we see you again.
I never recognized you before.
No one does. It's a psychology thing. If you don't expect to see a superhero in your school, you don't see a superhero in your school.